You develop within your mother's body, complete from the very beginning. There is no stage of frailty, no moment spent learning how to move. By the time you are released, you are already functional. A moment later, your mother releases you and the others into the deep water. There are no signals, no preparation. You exit her body and immediately drift apart in different directions. No one stays behind long enough to ensure that everyone is all right. As the last individual vanishes into the dark water, your mother turns away. She does not pause. She does not look back. There is no movement to suggest she still cares for what has just left her body. The surrounding water is near freezing, but your body does not react like those of other creatures. There are compounds within your tissues that keep you stable, preventing the cold from slowing everything down more than necessary. You do not need to move fast. Nothing here demands it. You drift, not in any specific direction, with no destination. The current carries you, and you maintain your relative position within the water column. There is no intense light, only a fading blur above, which then disappears entirely. You no longer see the others who were released with you. You still remember their positions when they were nearby, but there is no signal prompting you to find them again. There is no mechanism to keep you with them. A massive movement passes overhead. There is no warning, no distinct sound, only a dark mass gliding across the higher waters. You stop. You do not accelerate. You do not change course. You remain still. It does not react. It does not turn back. It does not adjust its trajectory. After a moment, it vanishes into the darkness as if it never existed. You wait longer. Nothing else appears. No sign of new movement. The current returns to its original state. You continue to move, not toward anything, simply away from where you were. Out here, there is nothing holding you back, and there is nothing waiting for you ahead.
You drift deeper. The light above fades, and then vanishes completely. At around 500 meters, everything stabilizes. There is no rapid movement, no strong currents. The water is thick and cold, holding everything in a state of near stillness. Your body adapts to it. Your metabolic rate slows to a point that is almost negligible. You do not burn energy quickly. You do not need to eat often. If nothing appears, you continue to exist without any overt reaction. No alarm signals, no sense of deprivation. You move slowly, no chasing, no accelerating. Down here, nothing requires you to do so. Time passes, and you have still not eaten, but that does not change the way you move. There is nothing inside you urging an immediate search. Then, finally, you detect something. A small object, falling from above. It spins slowly in the water, drifting with the slight current. As you draw closer, its structure becomes clear. A small fish, already dead. The soft tissue has begun to decay, unresponsive. You approach. The mouth opens slightly. There is no need to calculate the exact distance. You do not need to time it. The object does not move. But just as you get close enough, another movement appears beside you. A body similar to yours, slightly smaller. It emits no signal. It does not change direction to avoid you. It simply approaches the same goal. The two of you maintain a tiny gap. The fish carcass lies between you. The water swirls gently, nudging it bit by bit. Both of you adjust your positions, maintaining the angle of approach. Then, you both lunge. Heads collide in the water, not hard enough to cause injury, but enough to deflect your course. The carcass is swept away, spinning and drifting from its original spot. By the time you stabilize, it has vanished into the dark. The other body does not pause. It leaves immediately without looking back. You do the same. Down here, this is nothing unusual. Not everything that dies is eaten, and you are not always the one who arrives at the right time. Time passes. Another change begins to emerge. Tiny organisms attach themselves to your eyes. They hold on tight, never leaving. They do not kill you, but they gradually shroud your vision, making everything ahead grow opaque until it disappears entirely. You do not react. You do not need to see to find food. You continue to move, relying on other signals. Scents diffusing through the water, faint, but enough to provide orientation. Tiny electrical pulses from other creatures, appearing only when they are close enough. You are not faster. You are not stronger. You simply continue to exist this way.
You continue to move along the seabed, not relying on light. Scents diffuse through the water in thin layers, pulling you in erratic directions. Faint electrical signals appear and then vanish when other creatures are near, but nothing is distinct enough to hold you for long. Then, a change occurs. A strange vibration propagates through the water, unlike the movement of a fish, uneven, not alive. You turn toward it, not to hunt, but because it does not match anything you have ever sensed. A massive object slides across your front. The surface is hard, non-elastic, emitting no biological signals. It moves slowly, maintaining a steady heading, then gradually exits the range of your perception. You stop. The sound disappears. The current returns to its previous state. You continue. But then it returns. The vibration appears again, clearer this time, no longer drifting across. It is adjusting its heading. The water pressure changes along a fixed axis, keeping its distance from you. When you change direction, it changes too. No faster, no slower. The sound grows, a steady, repeating hum, unlike any living creature. You drop lower, pushing yourself down into the thicker water. Pressure increases slightly around your body. You maintain a steady pace of movement. It still follows. No heartbeat, no scent, no electrical signal, only movement. You continue downward, longer, deeper. Then the sound begins to weaken. The pressure behind eases. The vibration dissolves in the water, losing its initial structure, and disappears completely. You do not turn back to check. You continue moving in a new direction. Sometime later, a different scent appears, darker, heavier, unlike a small fish, unlike a long decayed carcass. The current carries the scent in multiple directions, but they all lead to the same point. You follow. A large mass looms ahead, slowly sinking toward the bottom. The surface is thick, soft, not yet fully decomposed. Smaller creatures have already attached themselves to the edges, moving slowly and consuming thin sections of the exterior. As you draw near, they leave. You open your jaws, biting into the thickest part. The tissue resists for a moment, then gives way. You pull back to swallow, maintaining a distance before approaching again. A fast movement cuts across your rear. Something wraps around your tail. A tightening force appears immediately, without warning. A sharp point embeds into the tissue, deep and precise, not a bite, unlike any attack you have ever encountered. You thrash hard. The tightening force loosens. A form slides back, boneless, only long and flexible tentacles. A squid. It does not pursue. It turns back toward the carcass and disappears behind the large block of flesh. You do not approach again. You keep your distance, orienting your body so the injured section avoids the direct current. Blood diffuses slowly, blending into the surrounding environment. You leave. Out here, nothing truly belongs to you. Time passes without any clear markers. You continue to move in the same manner, at the same rhythm, through unchanging layers of water. Your body grows, but with extreme slowness. Each year adds only a fraction, not enough to make an immediate difference. You have lived for decades. A potent scent appears, clearer than anything you have ever sensed. It does not dissipate quickly. It maintains its structure as it drifts through the water, pulling you in a steady direction. You do not accelerate. You simply hold your course. The mass ahead is larger than anything you have ever encountered. It lies flush against the bottom, almost motionless. The surface is thick, intact in many places. There are few signs that it has been scavenged. You approach from below. Your jaws open, you bite into the skin. It resists longer than usual. You maintain pressure, twisting slightly, and a piece of tissue tears away. You back off to swallow, preparing to approach again. Then the mass moves. A slight contraction ripples across the surface. The tail rises and then falls. The current around you changes instantly. Its mouth closes, its eyes open. It is not yet dead. You change course to leave, but its movement is faster than yours. A sweep from the tail strikes across your body, knocking you out of position.
You readjust, but a second force follows immediately, stronger, cutting across your front and dragging you sideways. You do not hold your ground. You head upward, leaving the area. Your body is heavy, but your movement is steady. You do not stop. The movement behind lingers for a moment, then vanishes. You continue. Time passes. You have lived for more than 100 years. Your body reaches a state of stability. Your growth rate has nearly halted. A new signal appears in the water. Not the scent of food, not the movement of a predator. A sequence of faint electrical pulses, repeating in a steady pattern. You follow. Another body appears ahead. The same species, similar speed. No evasion, no approach. You maintain a parallel distance. There are no communication signals, no obvious changes in behavior. Then you draw closer. The process is brief, not complex, not prolonged. When it concludes, the body ahead changes direction. It departs on a different heading without adjusting its speed. You do not follow. There is no reason to remain in proximity. You turn in the opposite direction and continue to move. No traces are left behind. No other individuals are near. And there is no way for you to know what will happen next.
Time continues to pass, leaving no distinct marks. You move in the same manner, through familiar layers of water, following unchanging currents. Your body grows thicker, heavier, but your pace remains the same. You have lived for hundreds of years. A scent of blood appears in the water, bold, fresh, and clearer than what you usually encounter. You adjust your heading, following a trail of scent that stretches deeper down. There is no obstruction, no warning signal. A carcass looms ahead, large, with many parts still intact. Another body is already there before you, faster, more agile, moving in tight circles around the remains. You do not change your speed. You approach from the opposite side. It lunges first. A bite cuts across your body and retreats immediately. It does not pause. It does not hold its ground. You are knocked off course for a moment, then stabilize. Blood diffuses slowly around the wound. This time, you react. As it returns, you pivot and lunge. Your jaws clamp around its flank. The force of the pull is enough to tear through tissue before it breaks free. It departs, carrying a deep wound. You do not give chase, nor do you return to the carcass. You descend lower, into colder, denser water. Between the rock formations, you come to a halt. The current flows slowly over the wound. The blood stops spreading after a long interval. You wait until your body stabilizes once more. Then you depart. Time passes. You have lived for approximately 400 years. Nothing has changed. The currents, the temperature, the way you move, everything remains constant. Then, a slight shift occurs. The water pressure offsets for a brief moment. A rapid movement cuts across from below. An upward thrust lifts your body, destabilizing you. Before you can adjust, a second collision spins you in another direction. You fail to regain your position. Another body lunges in, faster than anything you have ever encountered. A deep bite opens up your underside. Multiple movements appear simultaneously, coming from different directions. You cannot keep up. A pulling force grips your fin, another clamps onto your jaw. Tissue tears under the relentless pressure. You do not accelerate. You do not escape. Your movements diminish, reactions slow, and then vanish. The current continues to flow over your body as the surrounding movements cease. They leave. What remains of you sinks to the seabed. Nothing changes afterward. Other creatures will pass by. They will stop, and then they will move on. You move no longer.